Okay, it is not letting me appear by Teams, so I have that attorney's number. We'll telephone him in shortly. Slow me down if you need me to give me questions. Okay. All right, on record on 21 CF 12481. Verdi Destin Nobles, is that your client, Mr. Williams?
My client is Demeric Monte Strickland.
Okay, thank you. Switching over. Case number 21 CF 2455AO. Appearance, please.
Attorney Kamara Williams for the record.
Good morning, Mr. Strickland. Keep in mind you do have an attorney with you. You're here for a charge of sexual battery on a person over 18 by a person over 18. You're also here for a charge of aggravated battery. Probable cause has already been found. Do you want to be heard on his release conditions?
Yes, Your Honor. Currently, the defendant is being held on these two charges. However, the facts of the case show that the alleged victim is over a 42-year-old female. They've had multiple instances. My client is a member of the community. He is a project manager for Graham Construction.
He was aware?
He is a project manager for Graham Construction. He has a home here in Central Florida. He is not a flight risk. We're asking the court to adhere to a reasonable bond and place a bond of lowering the first bond of $15,000 to maybe under $1,000. And for the sexual battery, he has no bond currently. We're asking for the court to place a bond of no more than $5,000.
And State, I see that he has no prior criminal history. He does have something out of Texas that concerns me, but I don't know if it was a conviction. State, do you want to be heard on Mr. Williams' arguments?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, as to the request for the bond modification, I see that the bond was originally set at $15,000. I would ask that the bond be stayed in light of the allegations and the nature surrounding the charges, Your Honor. In the event that he does bond, I would ask that he be ordered to have no contact with the victim and nothing else from the state, Your Honor.
Mr. Williams, if you can go ahead and tell me or get some testimony as to his ties to the community, please.
Yes, he's works obviously for Graham Construction. He has a home here. He's been here for at least 6 years. He has a extensive community work within different organizations. Okay.
All right, based on that, on count one, he is entitled, I'll give him a bond of $10,000. And on count two, I'll modify that bond to $150, treating it as subsidiary. Total bond is $10,150. Sir, here are the conditions of your release. You're to have no contact with the victim. No contact means no texting, emailing, third-party communications. You are not to go to where she lives, works, or is known to frequent. You're also not permitted to possess any weapons. If you own any weapons, they need to be surrendered within 6 hours of your release to the Orange County Sheriff's Office or the local police department. Do you have any questions?
Ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
You still want to ask where I'm from?
What?
California. Remember you asked me?
Yes.
California.
And have you met Judge Falcone yet?
I haven't had the pleasure. Good morning, Judge.
I'm sorry, I forgot the E is a long E. All right, Ms. Sweet, are you ready in your case?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
What's your client's name?
My client's name is LeVar McNair.
You want Strickland? Oh, I'm sorry, let Judge Falcone. What? No, I don't have McNair's paperwork. All right. Are you Mr. McNair?
Yes, ma'am.
And Ms. Sweet, your appearance for the record in 21 CF 12475 and 21 CT 6380.
Leslie Sweet on behalf of Mr. McNair in both cases. I'll be filing paperwork because I didn't have all the case numbers when I got over here this morning.
Okay, so, sir, I do find probable cause for possession of a firearm in the commission of a felony. possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver with a weapon, possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver, as well as fleeing and attempting to elude with lights and sirens, and for the charge of driving with license suspended. Do you want to be heard on bond?
Yes.
Go ahead.
The first thing I want to, may I ask to listen for my client, please?
Go ahead, sir. I'll go.
I believe he's placed under oath.
Sir, raise your right hand. I'll have you sworn in.
Do you swear from the testimony about to give, share with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. McNair, could you please tell the court your address?
My address,
Yes.
4493 Kirkland, Kirkland Boulevard, BLVD.
And the address on your police report is 1713 London Crest Drive. Whose address is that?
Yes, that's my previous address. I haven't got arrested in a couple years, so I haven't updated it.
So you didn't change your address within 10 days like you're supposed to when you move?
Say it again?
You didn't change your address within 10 days after you move?
No, ma'am.
So this is not the correct address?
No, ma'am.
So how long have you resided in Orange
My
County?
parents still stay at this address, but I currently don't stay at that address.
How long have you resided in Orange County?
How long have I lived here? I've been living here since I was 9 years old, ma'am.
And you're 20 now?
Yes, ma'am.
So about 13 years?
Yes, ma'am.
And you stated before your parents are here?
Yes, ma'am. My mom, exactly.
How are you employed?
Say it again?
How are you employed?
I wash cars, I do tent. Just,
Now, on that particular day, that was not your vehicle?
no, ma'am.
And I believe you told me that your vehicle was being repaired and you had the
Yes.
money, the $6,500?
Yes, the monies, I have receipt and everything that I have to go pay to show. I have proof of everything.
Have
Yes,
your
ma'am.
car repaired?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I have no other further testimony, just argument.
State, do you have any follow-up questions?
No, Your Honor.
And defense counsel, how much bond are you seeking?
I am seeking on the fling and eluding is extremely weak. The car was, is driving down the 408 and their car gets boxed in because of tent. That's a little bit aggressive and radical. I would concede or present to the court. That's why that's going to be problematic. I need to see the videos because my client was driving a loaner car to go and pick up his car.
Well, without commenting on
Huh?
without commenting on the defenses, how much and the strength or weakness, the perceived strength or weaknesses, tell me how much bond you're seeking, and we'll see if I can just query you.
I'm seeking on the, let me just figure this out. Probably 2,500 and then 150 on everything else. And
Sorry,
then
what was the first amount you said?
2,500 and then 150 on everything else. And then on the driving suspended license, which we need to look into, $100.
Okay. Sir, what's the name of the company you work for?
It's Black Boys Car Wash.
I don't know what you're saying.
Black Boys Car Wash.
Excuse me?
He's saying Black Boys Car Wash?
Black Boys Car Wash.
Okay.
Okay, so with that said, do you get a paycheck? Are you paid cash
Yes, ma'am.
with withholdings and everything?
I don't, not
You
with
don't-
withholdings. I don't,
All right, here's what I'll do. On count one, I'll set bond at $150. On count two, the possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver, set bond at $7,500. The possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver, $150. The fleeing and attempting to elude, $150. And on the CT case, I'll modify that bond to $100. Here are the conditions of your release. You're not to possess any weapons, nor are you to possess, use, or consume any illegal drugs, and no contact with the co-defendants, Mcnair and Ramirez.
yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, Ms. Sweet. Anything else?
No, ma'am.
Anything else, Ms. Sweet?
I asked for a lower bond on that 7,500. They're having a lot of trouble.
I'm going to deny the request.
I
on
just
that.
had to ask you.
Thank you.
Do some begging. Thank you, Your Honor. Have a-
All right, thank you. Good luck to you, sir. The next person is Counsel, which case are you here? Any other?
Judge, I don't know the case number, but one is Kyle Hahn, H-A-H-N. The second one is Birdie, that's Pettimos.
Okay, let's start with Hahn because I have that paperwork ready.
Give me the case number, Judge.
Sure, it's 21 CF 12498, Kyle Earl Hahn.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Judge.
Counsel, your appearance for the record on Mr. Hahn's case.
I have it, Judge. I'd like to know if I could get a copy, because I just got this morning.
I can pass you and you can take a look at it. I don't have a printer up here that I can use. You can, yes. And this is on Hahn. Have you seen the charging affidavit on Destin Nobles? Okay, do you need both of them? Do you have an NOA on Destin Nobles as well? I'm going to take Richardson next while counsel reviews Mr. Hahn and Mr. Destin Nobles. Here you go. Sure, it is 21 CF 12481AO. And that's a meth charge. For the record, Attorney Jack Hine has filed an NOA in open court on Destin Nobles and Hahn. Thank you. All right, can you go ahead and call Mr. Can you do it from that phone?
Judge, this is my copy, or do you need?
No, those are the court's copies. Again, I'm allowing you to review them, but I do need those back
Okay.
for when you file your demand with the state, but you have review of the.
Camden and Richardson. Me, Camden and Richardson.
Did we pick up?
Yes, hello?
Good morning. This is Judge Bigney at the Orange County Booking and Receiving Center. I'm here to address Camden Richardson. Or is that why you?
That is correct, Judge. Good morning.
Okay. On record on 21 CF 12493AO, Camden Richardson. Sir, are you Mr. Camden Richardson? Counsel, we're bringing your client in.
Oh, great. Yeah, I don't see him on. I'm actually watching the live feed.
On record on 21 CF 12493AO, Camden Richardson. Sir, are you Mr. Camden Richardson? Counsel, we're bringing your client in.
Oh, great. Yeah, I don't see him on. I'm actually watching.
Counsel, can I have appearance for the record?
Yes, Your Honor. Frank Gill, GIL.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Richardson, your attorney is online. You were arrested for a charge of aggravated stalking, dating violence. Defense counsel, do you want to be heard on anything?
Your Honor, I would just request the standard bond in this condition and obviously the stay away order.
All right, thank you. State and corrections, any contact with the victim in this case, Miss Lauren, last name starts with a K? Any contact?
We did not. We're not able to make contact, Your Honor.
All right. Defense counsel, how long has Mr. Richardson lived in Orlando?
Your Honor, I'm actually not sure. Mr. Richardson, how long have you been in the Orlando area?
Around 2 years.
And where did you live before that?
New York.
Do you work?
Yes.
Are you also a student?
Yes.
Are you currently enrolled?
Yes, ma'am.
State any questions.
Your Honor.
All right, he is entitled to monetary bond. I do find probable cause. Here are the conditions. The court does have concerns about his lack of ties to the community and some out-of-state history, some small history. I'm going to set bond in this case at $3,500. I'm also going to order pretrial release. Sir, you have no contact with the victim or her family members. That means you're not to text, email, call, have any third-party communication, go to her work or where she lives. You're also not allowed to have any weapons. If you own any, they do need to be surrendered within 6 hours of your release from Orange County Jail. State anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Defense counsel, anything else?
Your Honor, just a quick question. For pretrial release, does that require a monitor?
No, it's not like Seminole. We don't do a monitor, but he will have to check in.
Gotcha. Perfect. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you so much, Judge. I appreciate it.
Before you disconnect, Mr. Richardson, do you have any questions for me while your attorney is online?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
So the pretrial, when would I have to check in?
They'll give you instructions when you post your bond, then you go to pretrial. They'll give you information about how to report to pretrial release. You've already been qualified for it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson.
Thank you, Judge, for giving me a call. I appreciate that.
All right, thank you. Counsel, are you ready
Great
on
day.
Hahn and Destin Nobles?
Yes, Judge.
May I have the documents back? Yes, thank you for your formality. I appreciate it, sir. Do you have any preference on who we handle first? All right, we'll start with Mr. Destin Nobles. Good morning. On record on 21 CF 12481, your appearance, counsel.
Jack D. King for the defendant.
Thank you, Mr. King. And, sir, your name, please. Sir, you're here for a charge of possession of methamphetamines. I do find that there's probable cause. Do you want monetary corrections? Can I order PTR on this kind of case? He's high risk, didn't qualify.
Yeah, he just wasn't qualified. He doesn't have he's currently homeless, not working, so we couldn't verify any ties, but the charge would qualify.
Do you want me to put him on PTR or straight monetary bond?
PTR, Judge.
I'm sorry, which one?
Pretrial release.
All right, Mr. Destin Nobles, I'm putting you on pretrial release. I'm ordering that you not possess, use, or consume any illegal drugs or have any drug paraphernalia. And in 30 days, you'll be subject to random testing through the pretrial release program at your expense. That concludes your first appearance. Thank you. The next case is Earl Hahn. Mr. Hahn, good morning. You're here in 21 CF 12498. Your appearance for the record, defense counsel.
Jack D. King for the defendant.
Mr. Hahn, you were arrested for possession of methamphetamine with intent to sell or deliver, possession of LSD, possession of fentanyl, possession of drug paraphernalia, and petty theft. I do find probable cause for all these offenses, defense and state. Do you want to be heard?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Anything defense?
No, Judge.
All right. On count 1, I'll stay the bond. On count 2, 3, I'll modify to $150 apiece. On counts 4 and 5, modify to $100. I'm also ordering, Mr. Hahn, that you not possess, use, or consume any illegal drugs while this case is pending. Any questions for me, Mr. Hahn?
So what does that make my bond, ma'am?
Your total bond is $3,000. Thank you. Good luck to you, sir. Anything else, counsel?
No, Judge.
All right. Have a good afternoon.
I would like to ask you something off the record, though.
You can approach. Well, sir. Spanish first. Thank you. I'm going to start with the Spanish interpreter cases, so I'm just adding them online. we headset here or just broadcast? We headset? Okay, I forgot.
Hello, Cisco Unity Connection Messaging System. From a touch-tone telephone, you may dial an extension at any...
Do you have a number for the interpreters? How am I doing? Does this happen often? There's a, okay. They're gonna come here? So what's the last one? Hope? We end at Bruno Aponte? Who? Okay, thank you. So State Defense and Corrections, we're going to pass on Tabor DeSera, Compti Chacon, Valderas Castillo. We're waiting for the interpreters. So give me a moment. We'll begin with Alexandra Pablos. Good morning. What's your name, please?
Alexandra Pablos.
Ms. Pablos, do you need a public defender to help you with your newest charge for prostitution as a third or subsequent offender?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. I do find probable cause in that case. Counsel, do you want an offer on her out on bond case?
Not at this time, Your Honor. And defense would also have a challenge to the probable cause finding in this case. First, it only mentions arrests for prior convictions. There's nothing mentioning the convictions itself. Second, Your Honor, the affiant in the affidavit says, I was not at the scene and I have no involvement.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and overrule the objection as to the subsequent offense. I do have her list of Orange County priors. So I'll stay the bond, and on 2021 MM 4380AO, I'll revoke her release, but she does have a hearing next week. Thank you, Ms. Pablos. The next person is Zukula Bruno Aponte. Corrections, is Ms. Bruno Aponte on probation? I see it, her last case was 3/4/21, but I don't see it showing up as a detainer.
Doesn't appear to be, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
She does not appear to be on
All right.
active probation right now.
Ms. Bruno Aponte, do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes.
I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. I do find that there's probable cause for a charge of prostitution as a subsequent offender. Defense counsel, do you want an offer on her misdemeanor case?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, any objection to me making an offer?
No, Your Honor.
It would be an adjudication, time served, no return to the mapping zone unless she has proof that she's living there, HIV, awareness class, and STD testing as required. But it would be a time served offer. In the alternative, I'll stay the bond.
Your Honor, she would like to accept the plea at this time. She doesn't have a plea form.
That's fine, just with the passing back and forth, I'll waive it. It's a misdemeanor. Ms. Bruno Aponte, I'll ask you some questions. Do you understand that if you were on probation at the time you committed this offense, by pleading today, your probation would be violated?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, you will be subject to deportation by entering a plea to this charge?
Yes.
Do you understand that you're giving up your right to trial by entering a plea?
Yes.
If you have a criminal history of doing anything sexually violent or anything sexually motivated under the laws of this state, you would be civilly committed. Do you understand that too?
Yes.
Do you understand, Ms. Bruno Aponte, that you are giving up your right to trial?
Yes.
Have you consumed any drugs, alcohol, or medication that's affecting your ability to understand what's going on right now?
No.
Do you understand that you will be convicted at the time of sentencing? If you commit a future act of prostitution or prostitution-related offenses, you will be charged with a felony.
Yes.
How do you plead to the charge of prostitution or lewdness as a second-time offender?
No
Guilty?
contact.
Okay, did anybody force you to say no contest?
No.
Do you understand what no contest means?
Yes.
All right, at this time, I'll go ahead and proceed to sentencing. You're adjudicated guilty. I'll sentence you to time served, which is 2 days. If you have not had an HIV awareness class in jail or the STD testing, I'll give you 14 days to complete that, and just make it a condition of the court. No return to the prostitution mapping zone. And if you happen to live there, just make sure you have proof, like a business card for the hotel that you're actually living at and renting space from.
Okay.
You owe court costs and your public defender's fees. I'll give you until February 15th of 2022 to make payment on that.
Okay.
You have 30 days to appeal, Ms. Bruno Aponte. Do you have any questions for me?
No.
All right, good luck. You'll be released today.
Thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am. Charlotta Pope.
I don't need to prosecute a public attorney.
Good morning. Are you Ms. Pope?
Yes.
Ms. Pope, I'm going to talk to you about your case for trespassing. I find that there's probable cause. You shouldn't have been, they asked you to leave Eden Lounge. If you want to enter a plea, it's going to be a time-served plea with a withhold. You can't go back there, and you would owe court costs due around Valentine's Day. Based on what I'm telling you, do you want to talk to a lawyer from the public defender's office?
Oh, ma'am.
All right. Ms. Pope, do you want to accept that plea?
Guilty?
Okay. Are you pleading guilty to the charge of trespass?
Yes, ma'am.
Did anybody force you to say guilty? You'll need to answer me out loud.
No, ma'am.
Okay. And you understand that you're giving up your right to trial?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, you will be subject to deportation by pleading to these charges?
Yes, ma'am.
If you were on probation when you committed this offense, by entering a plea today, your terms of probation would be violated. Do you understand that too?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you need any more time to talk to a lawyer?
No, ma'am.
All right, I'll accept your plea of guilty. Oh, one more question. Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, medicine, or do you have any health conditions that's affecting your ability to understand what's going on right now?
No, ma'am.
All right, I'll go ahead and accept your plea. I'll withhold adjudication, impose a time-served sentence, pay your court costs by February 15th of next year, and you can't go back to that business, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you, Ms. Pope. You'll be released on this case today.
Your Honor, I have a question. What was the time served?
It's 2.
Thank you.
Kelsey Boyce.
How you doing there?
I'm doing well, thank you. PD's office, your office represents Mr. Boyce. Is there any has your office filed any competency motions on 21 CF 6336 AO? I didn't see anything in the file.
Not at this time, Your Honor. There are concerns, though.
All right, thank you. Mr. Boyce, do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. You're here for a charge of disorderly conduct. I do find probable cause. And you're already out on bond for carrying a concealed firearm, as well as improper exhibition of a dangerous weapon in case 21 CF 66, I'm sorry, strike that, 6336. Any side want to be heard? All right. So on the new case, the disorderly conduct, I'm going to reduce your bond to $100. But because of the facts on the case, I'm going to revoke your release on your own recognizance. I will give you a new monetary bond. For the carrying concealed weapon, I'm going to set your bond at $5,000. On the improper exhibition of a firearm, I'm going to set your bond at $150. In both of these cases, you'll have a standing order not to possess any weapons.
So that mean I have to bond out on them charges again?
You do, sir. Based on the facts and the fact that you're out on bond, I am revoking your release.
So what's my bond in total? Can you tell me?
$5,150. So total between the two cases, $5,250 with no weapons.
Is that with the 10%?
Yes, sir. You can use if you use a bondsman. The next case is Sean Gill.
That's 10%. They'll help you. They'll help you. Call the same bond.
All right.
Mr. Gill. Sir, you'll need to step aside. Thank you. Good morning. Are you Mr. Gill?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you're here for a warrant in case number 102010CF2214. This is a warrant out of Clay County, Florida, for 1 count of sexual battery and 1 count of lewd and lascivious molestation. You'll be held at no bond. You should be picked up and transported by Clay County. In the meantime, do you need a lawyer to help you while you're in Orange County Jail?
No, ma'am.
I'm sorry, you said no?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gill.
He does have reporting requirements, Your Honor.
All right, sir, I also have to talk to you about your reporting requirements. Because of your criminal history, if you happen, when you are released from jail, you have 1 business day to report as a sex offender to your reporting office.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Don't holler out, but if you see that, give them 1 business day to report to sex offender reporting information. All right, the next person is Brian McDonald.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. McDonald, you're here for a warrant out of Seminole County, Florida, for 7 counts of video voyeurism. You'll be held at no bond until you are transported to the Seminole County Jail. Do you need a lawyer here in Orange County to assist you from the Public Defender's Office?
Don't think so.
Okay.
If I'm not going to be here.
Well, in case Seminole County doesn't transport you because of COVID, you would have an attorney from the Public Defender's Office.
Okay. Yes,
you-
then. Yes,
Okay.
please, then.
So I'll appoint a public defender. You'll remain on no bond status. But Mr. McDonald, you do have reporting requirements. Within 1 business day of being released from jail, you do need to follow up with your reporting requirements. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. The next person is Robert Gainey. Excuse me. Are you Mr. Gainey?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. You're here in case number 2017 CF 13097. You're here for a violation of probation. It's alleged that while you were on probation for sexual activity with a child, you were violated by leaving your county of residence without permission, and you were discharged from your treatment program. You'll continue to be held at no bond. Mr. Gainey, do you want a public defender?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender to assist you. You also have reporting requirements. Within 24 hours of your release from jail, you need to report as a sex offender. Thank you. The next person is Rashida Amanzi.
Sorry, Your Honor, could I have the name of the next defendant, please?
Amanzi, Amanze. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Good morning, ma'am. Can you tell me what your name is?
Rashida Amanzi.
21 CF 12466AO. Ma'am, you were arrested for a crime of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. I do find that there's probable cause. Do you need a lawyer to help you with your case? You want a public defender? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. Is Uchina Amanzi present? No response. Corrections, have you had any conversations with the victim?
We did, Your Honor. They just reported that they were not going to come to court today.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and give you some release conditions. I'm going to set your bond at $1,500. You're also going to be placed on pretrial release.
Okay.
Ms. Amanzi, you're to have no contact with the victim of this case. You must maintain a separate residence. I'll give you permission to go back one time with a police officer to collect your belongings. You're not to have any alcohol or any illegal drugs consumed or used. And you're not to possess any weapons. All weapons to be surrendered within 6 hours of your release. Do you have any questions for me?
No, ma'am.
Will you be able to afford the $1,500 bond? If you use a bondsman, that would be $150.
Yes, ma'am. I
can
can
afford
afford
that?
the $150.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. Yeah, I heard you.
You have to report. Make sure you report. That's very important.
The next case is Jason Edgar. Corrections, I now have an interpreter ready. After I take Mr. Edgar, how long is it going to take to get the Spanish-speaking people? Is it a quick turnaround, or do you? Okay. After Mr. Edgar, I'm going to switch dockets and go back to the Spanish interpreter cases. Are you Mr. Edgar?
Yes.
Mr. Edgar, good morning. You're here for two different cases. Do you need a public defender to help you with your most recent case for false imprisonment and battery dating violence?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I'm going to appoint a public defender in case 21 CF 12491. You were arrested for false imprisonment, dating violence, and battery. Defense, do you want to be heard on bond?
One moment, Your Honor. Your Honor, he indicated that he'd be able to afford a $1,500 bond in this amount.
All right. I do find probable cause for the false imprisonment. Counsel, I'm going to actually go a little higher. I have concerns about the victim's safety. I'm going to set bond on count one at $2,500, on count two, $100. You're to have no contact with the victim. In this case, you're not to go to where she lives, works, or is known to frequent. The victim is Fallon Metz. You're not to possess, use, or consume any illegal drugs. And did I order weapons already? And you're not to possess weapons. Weapons to be surrendered within 6 hours of your release from jail. You're also out on bond in case 2021 CF 7443AO. State, you have not made a filing decision on that June arrest. What do you want me to do on that?
Your Honor, was he out on bond on that case?
He's out on bond, but you guys he was ROR'd on a 33-day motion because no filing decision was made as of the end of July, and he still hasn't been made.
Your Honor, we'll defer to the court.
All right, I'm going to take no action on the meth and burglary charge since no filing decision has been made. But I want to readdress case 12491. I have concerns about the victim's safety, so I'm also putting you on court-ordered pretrial release, and you'll need to report once a month. Again, no contact with Ms. Met. Thank you. He had a prior with the same victim. It was null pros, their trial. It was just to. All right, let's switch to the Spanish interpreter docket.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. The Spanish interpreter is on the line.
Have you been sworn in?
Not yet, Your Honor.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to interpret from Spanish to English and English to Spanish to the best of your abilities, so help you God?
I do. Alan Figueroa, State Certified Spanish School Interpreter.
Thanks for working with us this weekend. Mr. Figueroa, I have Mr. Tabor Sharia, can you sound check him, please, on the headsets?
Lo escucho, sí.
The defendant can hear me, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Is Ariana Gutierrez present? Ariana Gutierrez? No response. 2021 MM 654880. Sir, please tell me your name.
Denny Taborda.
Denny Taborda.
Sir, do you want a lawyer to help you with your case?
Sí, por favor.
Yes, please.
I'll appoint a public defender. I do find that there's probable cause for this offense. I'm going to set your bond at $500. You're to have no contact with Ariana Gutierrez. You're not to possess any weapons. If you have any weapons, they do need to be surrendered to the police within 6 hours of your release. Do you live with Miss
No,
Gutierrez?
no tengo nada de eso. Vivo con ella y mi hijo.
I do, with her and my son.
All right. Sir, based on what happened, you cannot live with her. You must live separately. You can call the police department to arrange for a one-time return to collect your belongings. But after that, you must live separately until this case is over.
¿Cuánto tiempo dura el caso?
How long is that going to take for the case?
Your attorney can advise you on that. Thank you, sir.
Muchas gracias. Gracias.
Thank you.
¿Qué hago? ¿Ese? ¿Qué ha- Están dando un número de teléfono para llamar a quién.
I'm sorry, what did
This
you
phone number is for me to call who?
No, me.
Your lawyer.
Yes.
500.
Yes.
Ya está pagado. Ya está pagada la fianza.
Yeah. Just for
Finish?
that. No. The bond.
Yo no estoy comprendiendo, amigo.
I'm not understanding.
Your bondsman will charge you $100 for that.
El fiancista le va a cobrar a usted $100 por eso.
Okay, ya está pagada la fianza, es lo que quiero entender.
Is the bond already paid? That's what I'm trying to understand.
No.
You have to pay it.
Yo quiero saber cómo el proceso o qué viene ahora, qué tengo que hacer.
I want to know what's the process, what comes next, what do I do?
The bondsman's going to tell you. They'll help you in the back.
So there's a list of bondsmen's
Y yo
phone
quedaría
numbers
en
by the
libertad hoy
phone.
mismo.
Would I be able to get out today?
If somebody posts the bond for the bondsman. Thank you, sir.
Gracias, amigo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next person is Jorge Rafael Compte Chacon.
Bonded, Your Honor.
Bonded?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay. The next person is Gustavo Aval Valderas Castillo.
Bonded also, Your Honor.
Bonds posted, take off docket. And finally, Renel David Valderas Castillo. Thank you. Sir, what is your name?
Ronald David Valladares Castillo.
Ronald David Valladares Castillo.
Sir, I don't know if you qualify for a lawyer. Do you want a lawyer? Do you feel like you can hire your own attorney, or do you want me to see if you qualify for a public defender?
Defensor público.
Public defender.
Do you work, sir?
Sí.
Yes.
How often are you paid?
700 a la semana.
700 a week.
How much?
600 a 700 a la semana.
600 to 700 a week.
Is that, do they take taxes out?
Cae, ya descontándome los taxes.
That's with the taxes already taken out.
And how many people in your family do you support? Do you have any kids or a wife that you, or significant others that you support?
Solamente yo.
Just me.
Sir, you make too much money to qualify for a lawyer from the public defender's office, so you will need to hire one. You were arrested for a charge of battery against Nirni Hunanes. Can you afford a bond of $500?
Yo la puedo pagar, pero le quería hacer una pregunta. En mi,
I can pay it, but I have a question.
What's your question?
en mis pertenencias, yo tengo dinero y yo no tengo quien me pague esa fianza afuera, solamente con el dinero que tengo en mis pertenencias.
In my belongings, I have some money there as well. I don't have anybody outside who can pay the bond for me, but I can pay it with that money that's with my belongings.
Okay, so it sounds like a cash bond. I'm going to modify your bond to $300. You're to have no contact with the person who you allegedly hit. You're not to possess any weapons. And you're not to drink any alcohol. That's on the next court date. Thank you. You can talk to the corrections officers about how to get money out of your inventory or belongings.
Necesito que me ayude un oficial en eso, por favor.
Yes, I need an officer to help me out with that, please.
Thank you.
Your Honor, may the interpreter get the case number?
Yes, it's 21MM 426AA.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I believe that's everything for the Spanish interpreters.
Okay, not a problem. Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good rest of your weekend.
You too. Thank you, Mr. Figueroa. Sir, what's your name?
Lawrence Hill.
Mr. Hill, you're here in case 21 CF 11496. Do you need a public defender to help you with your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to appoint a public defender. Probable cause has been charged for the offense of battery by strangulation as well as battery domestic violence. It's also worth noting that you're out on bond in case 21 MM15. It's an Osceola County court case and you have a public defender. Based on these offenses and the allegations, on the new charge, on the battery strangulation, you are entitled to bond. Corrections, do you have any contact with the victim?
No, Your Honor. They were also booked in.
All right, thank you. On the battery by strangulation, I'm setting bond at $3,500. On the battery, $100 for a total of $3,600. I'm also ordering that you be placed on court-ordered pretrial release. You're not to possess any weapons. You're to have no contact. If you have any weapons, they need to be surrendered to law enforcement within 6 hours of your release from Orange County Jail. Sir, on your Osceola County Court case, I'm going to revoke your release, forfeit the bond. You'll be held at no bond status. Your attorney in Osceola can assist you with that case.
Your Honor, we would ask that if the court could just reconsider the revoking of the bond in light of the facts of this case. It says that the alleged victim was being arrested. That right in and of itself would count against her credibility. It doesn't appear that there's been any issues prior to the issuance of the warrant. And again, she only came into contact with the law enforcement because she herself was being arrested.
Thank you. I'll deny that request. Tyrone Riley's next.
We're going to talk later.
Is that an Orange County VOP for Riley?
Yes, they've already been seen on it, Your Honor, but they are
already
also
been
in on a
seen?
VOP.
Okay, so are you Tyrone Riley?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Riley, you're here today in case number 21 CF 12494. You were arrested for battery by strangulation, false imprisonment, battery domestic violence, and criminal mischief. Do you want a lawyer to help you with your case?
Ma'am, I have a lawyer that's already appointed to me from my prior case, and
So is that a public defender?
he's a private attorney, ma'am.
Okay, well, I can't give you a private attorney. If you want a public defender and they need to conflict out, or you can hire an attorney. Well, or you don't have to have an attorney. What do you want to do today?
Well, my
Represent
attorney-
yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you are entitled to bonds. I do find that there's probable cause. On the battery by strangulation, I'm going to set your bond at $3,500. False imprisonment, $150. Battery, $100, and criminal mischief, $100, plus pretrial release.
Your Honor, he doesn't qualify based on being on probation.
Okay, strike that. All right, you're to have no contact with the victim or any witnesses. You are not to return to the scene. You're not allowed to possess any weapons. If you own any weapons, they do need to be surrendered to the police department within 6 hours of your release from jail. Thank you, Mr. Riley.
One more question, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
When I was issued my warrant, I wasn't given any paperwork. I would just like to know if there's any way I can get my arrest affidavit.
I can't give it to you today, but yes, you can get hold of that. Your attorney, who you were talking about, can advise you on how to do that.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Brantley Smith,
Top of the morning.
good morning. Is Diana present? And corrections, have you heard from the victim in this case?
We did make contact with the victim. She stated she would try to attend court.
All right. All right, Mr. Smith, you're here for a charge of battery with one, excuse me, let me start over. Count 1, battery by strangulation. Count 2, battery with one prior, domestic in nature. And finally, false imprisonment. Mr. Smith, do you need a lawyer to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. I do find probable cause. Do you want bonds defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
On count 1, set bond at $2,500 plus pretrial release. On count 2, $100 plus pretrial release. And count 3, $150 plus pretrial release. Sir, here are the conditions of your release, Mr. Smith. You're to have no contact with the victim. You need to maintain a separate residence. She and the kids can stay there. You cannot. I'll allow a one-time return so long as you're with an officer. You're not to possess, use, or consume any illegal substances or any alcohol. And you're not to have any weapons. Weapons to be surrendered within 6 hours of your release. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Do you want to try one? You want to try one? Okay. Michael Florence, are you Mr. Florence?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Florence. You're here in case 21 MM 6557 AO for a charge of battery dating violence. Is witness Kalina Smith present? No response. Corrections, have you been in contact with Ms. Smith?
No, we were not, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Defense counsel, do you want a public defender, Mr. Florence?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Do you want a lawyer with the public defender's office?
Yes.
All right, I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender to assist you with this case. I do find probable cause. Based on the facts of this case and your criminal history, I'm setting bond at $1,500. Sir, you're to have no contact with Kalina Smith. You're not to possess any weapons. All weapons to be surrendered within 6 hours of your release from jail. Kelly Hall is next.
Sir.
Is John Wood present? John Frederick Wood? Good morning. Are you Ms. Hall? Yes. Ms. Hall, you're here for a charge of battery dating violence. Give me just a moment. Corrections, have you been in contact with the victim?
No, Your Honor, we were not able to reach them.
All right, Ms. Hall, you're here for a charge of battery dating violence. Do you need to speak with the public defender? Do you plan to hire your own attorney or represent yourself?
Represent myself today.
Okay. I'll go ahead and find that you qualify for pretrial release. So you'll be released on this charge today. You do need to follow their instructions. You're to have no contact with the victim, John Wood, and you're not to possess any weapons. If you own any weapons, they do need to be surrendered to the police department within 6 hours of your release. I see that you live in St. Petersburg. Just turn any weapons into local law enforcement there.
Okay, and he has my service dog, so how do I go about getting my clothes and my service dog?
Okay, so you don't live together, but he still has some of your belongings? I'll allow,
Hotel room.
okay, so in the hotel room?
Yeah, so I think he left, but I
Okay,
don't
so I'm going to
know.
give you a couple options. You're to have no contact with him. In Orange County and in your home city of St. Pete, I'll allow one-time return each. You need to be accompanied by a police officer. So you call law enforcement, let them know that you have a no-contact order against you, and they'll accompany you to check that. Or you can try calling maybe the hotel and seeing if somebody's still there. Do you have any questions, Ms. Hall? All right, good luck to you. Thank you. Cortez Johnson. Cortez Johnson. 21MM 6550AO. Mr. Johnson, you're here for a charge of battery, domestic violence. I do find, do you need a public defender to help you with your case? A lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. Ma'am, are you Miss Woods?
I am.
Good morning. Can you raise your right hand? I'll have you sworn in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you'll give today is the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you. Tell me your full name, ma'am.
Angel Marie Woods.
I'm going to ask you some questions, and then I'm going to let the attorneys ask you some questions.
Okay.
How do you know Mr. Johnson?
He's my boyfriend.
Do you live together?
He was moving in.
Okay. Any children in common?
2.
And do you want to have contact with him?
I do.
Are you in fear for him?
No.
Of him? Was there any drugs or alcohol involved?
When I returned home, he was drinking. I think that's why the situation escalated.
Okay. And how long has he lived here?
A few days.
He was living in Ohio and you were just doing the long distance thing?
Correct.
All right. State, do you have any questions for Ms. Woods?
No, Your Honor.
Defense counsel, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to set a low bond in this case of $200 plus pretrial release. Can you afford a $200 bond?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You're to have no hostile contact with Ms. Woods. You can't do anything to harm her or your family. You're not allowed to have any weapons. Weapons need to be surrendered within 6 hours of your release. And you're not to possess, use, or consume any alcohol or any illegal drugs. Ms. Woods, I just need clarification. Do you want him to continue trying to live with you or no?
I think that's something I would have to just figure out.
So I'm going to stand silent on the living together. I'm not going to, because I can order a couple to live separately. But since you need to figure it out, it's totally up to you, but he's to have no hostile contact with you.
Okay, I do have a question in my
Yes, ma'am.
ask. As far as his bond, him just moving here a few days ago, I don't know how that's gonna work or be paid.
Well, because he just moved here and he doesn't have any ties to the community, it's a $200 bond plus his pretrial release where he has to call in or check in.
Okay,
Okay? Thank you, ma'am.
thank you.
Joseph Mangella.
No, take it away.
21MM 424AA. Sir, can you start by telling me your name?
My name is Joseph Manganella, Jr.
Mr. Manganella, you're here for a charge of battery. It is domestic in nature. Do you need a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
And correction, I'll appoint a public defender. Corrections or state, have you had contact with Catherine Godone?
We have not, Your Honor.
All right.
State has not, Your Honor.
Sir, I'm going to set your bond. Your bond is going to be $1,000. You're to have no contact with the victim in this case. You must maintain a separate residence. She can stay at the Erdman Court address. You cannot. I'll allow for a one-time return as long as you're accompanied by a police officer, and you're not to possess any weapons. All weapons are to be surrendered within 6 hours of your release from jail, Mr. Mangella.
Your Honor, would the court consider pretrial release in this case? It seems that he wasn't interviewed, but he may qualify.
I'm going to deny that request based on lack of victim input and his history.
I don't have a history.
The next person is Michelle Mojito.
They'll tell you.
Good morning, ma'am. Can you start by telling me your name, please?
Michelle Modiitis.
Okay, I'm sorry I mispronounced that. You're here for a charge of battery dating violence in case 21 MM 655AO. Defense, strike that, state or corrections, have you heard from the victim, Mr. Medina?
We have not, Your Honor.
Okay.
It is not, Your Honor.
All right, ma'am, do you need a public defender to help you with your case? Do you plan to hire your own attorney or represent yourself? I will give you a bond.
I plan to hire my own attorney.
Okay, can you afford a $500 bond?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to set your bond at $500. You're to possess no weapons. If you have any, they need to be surrendered to the local police department within 6 hours of your release. Additionally, you're to have no contact with the victim in this case, Mr. Molina. And that'll conclude your first appearance. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Lynette Ortiz Nevez. Are you Miss Ortiz Nevez? Yes. You're here in case 21 MM 6549AO for a charge of battery. It is domestic in nature. I'm going to put you on pretrial release. What? Oh, I'm sorry. Strike that. Sir, your name, please?
Luis Torres?
Please raise your right hand. I'll have you sworn in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you'll give is true and correct to the best of your ability, so help you God?
I do.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I do.
All right, Mr. Torres, you can put your hand down. Thank you. Ms. Ortiz Nevez, do you need a lawyer? Do you plan to rep from the public defender's office, or do you plan to hire your own attorney or represent yourself?
My public's office.
Okay, I'll appoint a public defender. Mr. Torres, how do you know Ms. Ortiz?
My girlfriend?
Do you live together?
Yes.
And are you in fear of her?
No.
Do you want to have contact with her?
Yes.
Were drugs or alcohol involved?
No.
State any objection to straight PTR.
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Torres and Ms. Ortiz, I'm going to release Ms. Ortiz on straight pretrial release. Ms. Ortiz, you're not to have any hostile contact with your boyfriend, Mr. Torres, and you're also not allowed to own any weapons while this case is going on. If you do own any, they need to be surrendered to the police department within 6 hours of your release from jail. Do you have any questions?
No.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Good luck to you. Thank you, Mr. Torres.
Welcome.
Your name, please?
Kathleen Pearl.
Ms. Pearl, good morning. I'm addressing two different cases, 21MM 423AA and 21MM 397AA. Ma'am, you already have a lawyer for your September 2nd case. Do you want a public defender for your newest arrest?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll appoint a public defender. I do find probable cause for the violation of pretrial release. Defense, do you want to be heard on both charges?
One moment here.
Yeah. That's why you're so silly. All right, anything?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
All right, on your case where you're already out on bond, I am finding that you violated your terms of release, so I'm going to hold you at no bond in 21397. You are entitled to a bond on the new offense. I'm setting bond at $1,000 with the condition that you have no contact with the victim, no return, and possess no weapons. Weapons to be surrendered within 6 hours to law
Right.
enforcement.
I apologize, and I hate to backtrack. I just saw this. The alleged victim in the out on bond case file or has a declination of prosecution. I don't know why that hasn't been filed yet.
All right, well, it's still open. I'll deny that request. Alexander Smith. Are you Mr. Smith?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Smith. You're here for a charge of battery domestic violence. Is corrections or state, have you been in contact with Vicky Rasco?
We have not had contact, Your Honor.
State has not had contact with me.
Sir, I'm going to give you a bond on this case or put you on pretrial release. Do you need a public defender to help you?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. I'll set bond at $100 plus pretrial release. You're to have no contact with the victim. You must maintain a separate residence. I'll allow a one-time return with a police officer, and you're not to possess any weapons. Weapons to be surrendered within 6 hours of your release. Thank you. Sorry for my mess.
Hold on. Yeah.
I'll give you a moment to confer. Are you Mr. Antonio Brown?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Brown, do you need a public defender to help you with your case? Do you plan to hire your own attorney or represent yourself?
Yes, ma'am. I need a public defender.
Okay, I'll appoint a public defender.
Your Honor, we could waive the reading of the charges in this case.
Give me a moment. I just gotta double check my numbers. All right, sir, you're here, probable cause has been found for all offenses. On count one, you are entitled to a bond. Based on your criminal history, I'm going to set that bond at $10,000. On all remaining counts, the bond will be stayed. You're to have no contact with any person under the age of 18. You're not to possess any weapons. If you own any weapons, they need to be surrendered to law enforcement within 6 hours of your release.
Yeah.
Can I have that back? Correction, stand by. I want to check something. Okay, thank you. The next case I'm going to address is Gary Cook. Mr. Cook, you're here for two criminal cases. I'll start with case 21 CF 2005AO. You're here for a charge of possession of cocaine. You failed to appear for that offense. Your bond is stayed at $1,500. You're also here in case 21 CF 12471 for possession of methamphetamines. I do find probable cause. I'll stay that bond at $1,000. Do you need a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. I'll appoint a public defender. Zachary Cooler's next. Mr. Cooler, you missed your sentencing hearing in case 2013 CF 1427AO. Do you have a lawyer already? Do you have a lawyer, sir?
Mr. Diaz.
Mr. Diaz? When's the last time you spoke with Mr. Diaz?
Yes.
Hold on just a moment.
For the case we just addressed.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
This is the co-defendant for the case we just addressed?
No. Your name is Zachary Kyler?
No, Edward Diaz.
Oh, I'm working on Kyler's case. What happened to Edward Diaz? I'm going to pass him.
They have Kyler.
What? I'm sorry.
They have Kyler now.
Yeah.
They have Kyler? Okay. What's your name?
Zachary Kyler?
Sir, you're here in case number 2013 CF 1442780. Do you already have a lawyer in your case?
I do.
Is it a public defender or a private attorney?
Private attorney.
A private attorney? Okay, so that attorney will remain on your case. You're being held at no bond because of your burglary of a dwelling, grand theft from a dwelling, and receiving money from pawnbroker. Mr. Richardson will continue to help you with your case. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ashley Delotter, refuse, Your Honor.
All right, and Ashley Delotter, 21 CF 564080. Is Thomas Cock with the PD's office? Do you know?
Yes, I believe he's still there, Your Honor.
Okay. And then there's a new charge in 21 CF 12497. I'll provisionally appoint the Public Defender's Office for prostitution as a third or subsequent offender, and she has more than 4. So I do find probable cause. Do you want to be heard, defense?
Yes, Your Honor, just that the author of the affidavit is unknown to the court and the defense and the state at this time.
All right, at this time, overruled. On the prostitution with lewdness as a third or subsequent offender, I'm staying the bond at $1,000. I'm waiving her appearance. On 21 CF 564080, I'm going to revoke her bond and hold her at no bond. Refused. Edward Diaz. Mr. Diaz, I'm sorry for the confusion. Come on up. Mr. Diaz, you're here for charges of possession of cocaine and possession of drug paraphernalia. Do you plan to hire your own attorney or do you want a public defender?
Defender.
I'll go ahead and appoint the services of the public defender. Do you have somewhere to live, Mr. Diaz?
Oh.
Okay. So on count 1, I'll modify your bond to $500. On count 2, possession of drug paraphernalia, I'll stay the bond. I'll reduce your bond. The new total is $600. Thank you. Next person is John Doe. Sir, what's your name?
Jose Ortiz, Jose-Ortiz.
Okay, Mr. Ortiz is appearing on behalf of John Doe, 21 CF 1248480. Sir, you were arrested for possession of methamphetamines, assault on an officer, and resisting officer without violence. Do you need a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll appoint a public defender. I do find probable cause for these offenses. On count 1, I'll reduce the meth charge to $1,000. Counts 2 and 3, I'll stay the bond. Total bond is $1,200. Thank you, sir. The next person is Markel Goldsmith. Are you Mr. Goldsmith?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Goldsmith, you're here for case number 21 CF 1237980. Do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll go ahead and find that you qualify for the public defender. Probable cause has been found for human trafficking with sex acts on a child, as well as possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. On count 1, I'm going to set the bond at $7,500. On count 2, I'll stay the bond. You're to have no contact with any person under the age of 18, nor are you to possess any weapons. Thank you. Oh, thanks. The next case is Matthew Harrell.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Harrell. Do you already have a lawyer?
Yes, ma'am. I just recently missed the court date. All I have to do is just sign my plea, and I'll be going to prison. So I already know what I basically need to do, ma'am.
On record on 2020 CF 9805, Mr. Harrell, you missed your court date for 2 counts of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, possession of cocaine, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Mr. Fenderson will be advised of your arrest. You'll be held at no bond in the meantime.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Good luck
Thank
to
you,
you.
too.
Have a good day, sir. Sorry about that. They don't need to be in any particular order at this point. They're just going to get shredded. Are you Mr. Hurley?
That's correct.
Mr. Hurley, you're here, give me a moment. Corrections, do you have a DL record for me?
It should be in that pile, Your Honor. If not, I
Oh,
can
okay,
reprint
thank
it.
you.
Is it there? Okay.
Yes. All right, Mr. Hurley, you're here in case number 21 CF 1247680. Do you need a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender to help you. You're here for a charge of possession of, strike that, driving with license suspended, revoked as a habitual traffic offender, possession of drug paraphernalia, as well as possession of methamphetamines. On count 1, I'll modify your bond to $1,500. On count 2, I'll stay the bonds, and probable cause has been found. Thank you. Counts 2 and 3 stayed, 100 and 150.
He indicated he doesn't have any finances to post bond in this court case. Would the court consider releasing under non-monetary conditions?
I'm going to deny that request based on his history. Bobby McCree is next. Are you Mr. McCree?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll be addressing 2 different cases today. Do you need a public defender to help you with your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll go ahead and appoint the public defender to assist you in case 19 CF 707980. You missed your court date for a charge of petty theft with 2 priors. That court date was back in December. You're being held at no bond. In case number 2021 CF 5794, there was a warrant, a probable cause order for petty theft with 2 priors. Your bond in that case is stayed at $1,000. The next person is Carrie Kenyatta Patrick. Are you Mr. Patrick?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you're here for a charge of aggravated assault with a firearm. Do you need a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. I do find probable cause for this offense. I'm going to set your bond in the amount of $2,500 plus pretrial release. You're to have no contact with the victim, and you're not to possess any weapons. If you own any, they need to be surrendered within 6 hours of your release. John Pauline Polymon. Are you Mr. Polymon?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you're here for a couple different charges, so I'll go through all of them with you. Do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Polymon, in case 21 CF 12483, you're here for a charge of driving with license suspended as a 3rd or subsequent offender and driving under the influence of alcohol. Give me a moment. State, I have probable cause for DWLS with 1 prior, not for 3. He has withholds. Do you want me to roll this for PC, or do you want me to find PC and a lesser included?
Yes, Your Honor, could we roll this?
All right. On count one, I have a PC issue, so we'll roll this case to tomorrow. But in the meantime, I'll stay the bond. On the driving under the influence, I find probable cause, stay the bond at $500. And on the resisting officer without violence, I'll treat that as a subsidiary offense, modify the bond to $100. And if you don't bond out, we'll see you back tomorrow.
Yeah, your bond already.
The next person is Kajila Pompey.
Hospital, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to appoint a public defender to assist him with his case. We'll waive his appearance. Let's go through the charges. I find probable cause for kidnapping, attempted kidnapping, false imprisonment, family offense, interference with custody, kidnapping, false imprisonment, and a second count of family interference. Defense counsel, do you want to be heard on bond?
Your Honor, first, I would just argue there's no probable cause for the kidnapping or attempted kidnapping. There was no felony that was alleged. There was no act as the impetus for the taking of the child. It would qualify as kidnapping.
All right, I'm going to overrule the objection. Thank you. Do you want to be heard on bond? And he's no bond on a couple of other cases, too.
We could just have the lowest permissible bond that.
Right, without having interviewed and based on the offenses, his open offenses, I'll go through the open offenses first, kind of go backwards. In 2020 CF 3481, he has a controlled substance. He failed to appear, stay the bond at $5,000. In 2019 MM 809 AO, he violated his pretrial release. He's at no bond. In case number 2019 MM 8118 AO, violation of an injunction, he failed to appear, violating his pretrial release, and he's being held at. I'm going to modify that to no bond at this time.
So you want the PTR to be stricken, Your Honor?
I do. Thank you. State, do you want to be heard on bond on count one? It's not a life offense, so.
We'll defer to the court, Your Honor.
Okay. So based on his ongoing history, the facts of this case, I'm going to set bond in the amount of $15,000. On the attempted kidnapping, I'll set bond at $5,000. The false imprisonment, $1,000. Count 4, family interference, $1,000. On count 5, $150. On count 6, $150. And count 7, $150. He's to have no contact with any of the victims or witnesses. He's not permitted to possess any weapons, and he must take all prescribed medications. Thank you. The next case is,
Ramirez, refuse, Your Honor.
all right, he has attorney Jack Kaleda in 2020 CF 14029. I find probable cause, in that case, I'm going to revoke his release. He does have a PTC on 11/17. In 2021 CF 12474, I'll provisionally appoint the public defender's office, and I do find probable cause for his charges. On count 1, I'll stay the bond. I'm sorry, strike that. On count 1, I'll modify the bond to $150. On count 2, stay the bond. On count 3, modify to $150. No contact with co-defendants. No, possess no drugs and possess no weapons.
Your Honor, defense would just argue there's no probable cause on possession of the firearm count. This was a constructive possession case. I believe the co-defendant was charged with it. The firearm was found underneath the driver. My client was a passenger. There was a second firearm found in the back seat, but that was not out in the open.
Thank you. Overruled. The next case I'm addressing is 2021 CF 12477. Defendant's name is Jafariah Stevenson.
Hospital, Your Honor.
All right, I'll provisionally appoint the public defender in 21 CF 12477 AO. Defense anything?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
All right,
Your Honor, if we could roll this, just.
I'm going to deny that request. Because of COVID, the rolling has been, it's been an agreement with your office and
Understood.
courts. What did I do here? Okay, on count one, I'm going to set, he's entitled to a bond. I will give him a bond of $50,000. On count two, stay the bond. Count three and count four, I'll stay the bond as well, not to possess any weapons and no illegal drugs.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The next person is Calvin Xavier Vasquez Castro.
Bonder, Your Honor.
All right, take that off docket. The next person is Gladys LaShawn Wiggum. Good morning, ma'am. You're here in case 2021 CF 124728. Sir, ma'am, do you need a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and appoint a public defender to help you with your charges. Probable cause has already been found. And let me review this. It's an F1 state. Do you want to be heard on bond?
Your Honor, state would be asking for zero bond at this time.
Is it a PBL? It's an F1, but is it a PBL? I can check it. Could you bring me the statute book that has the 700s in it? Oh, thank you. Do you know what it is? Defense counsel, do you want to be heard?
Your Honor, I'm in agreement with the court. This is just a F1. She would be entitled to bond in this case.
I'll just double check it. State, are you planning on filing anything?
I don't have that information at this time, Your Honor.
Sure. Is it showing up as?
Your Honor, state will defer to the court.
It's here.
All right, based on the facts of the case, she does have only a slight history, but the facts of this case are egregious, so I'm going to set bond at $100,000. You're to possess no weapons or illegal drugs. If you do own any weapons, they do need to be surrendered to the police department within 8 hours of your release, and you're to have no contact with any of the witnesses. Thank you.
Your Honor, she could only afford a maximum $20,000, and that would be a maximum. She told me $10,000 originally, $20,000 if she got help. She has 2 children at home, an 18-year-old that just graduated from high school and a 10-year-old. She provides financial support for both of them. The court consider reducing the bond so she'd be able to get out and continue providing support for her children.
You can file a notice for bond hearing. I'm going to deny the request. That's in conflict with what she has on her sworn to affidavit. The next person is Jacob Roy Higginbotham. Are you Mr. Higginbotham?
I am.
Good morning, sir. You're here for a violation of pretrial release for the underlying offense of driving under the influence. Because you violated your pretrial release, you're on no bond. Do you already have a public defender? Do you plan to hire your own attorney?
I do not have an attorney, no, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and appoint a public defender to assist you in this case. The next person I'm addressing is Jerry Wilson. Thank you, sir. You're at no bond status. Wilson. Corrections, I do not have a DL record for him.
He did not have one, Your Honor.
Okay, that would make sense. Sir, what's your name?
Jerry?
Jerry, is your last name Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson, you're here for a charge of no valid driver's license. Do you want me to appoint a lawyer from the Public Defender's Office to assist you?
Sure.
All right, I'm going to modify your bond to $100. I do find that there's probable cause on this matter. I would give him a an adjudication time served offer, but it would violate his probation. I want to advise you, sir, that because you are on probation in Orange County, corrections, do you have a Orange County number for me?
For his probation?
Yes. Case.
Let's see, it's case number
2017.
1901450. It's out of Okaloosa. And Orange County is 1706333. That's what I have on my face sheet. I can look it up at the DFC
Nope,
website.
I'm pulling it
as
up
well.
too. That's not coming up under that number. I'll do a name search. So I might be on viewing him. That's what's catching my eye. I mean, he's in Okaloosa. I don't have jurisdiction to do anything, but I'm still going to look him up in Orange. Nate, do you know if he's on probation in any cases, and if so, what the the other case number is?
One moment, Your Honor.
Yeah, cool.
I found it, Your Honor. It's at Orange County probation.
Okay, what's the case number?
It was 2017 CF 006333 AO.
When does his probation terminate?
It looks like he might have actually, let's see. Looks like he might have admitted to a violation of that probation. I don't know if they,
No reinstatement?
I'm looking at the document now, Your Honor.
I'm not offended with him.
I see they sentenced him to 60 days, but I don't see if they reinstated. I don't think they reinstated it.
You don't think so?
I don't think
State, do you
so,
have
but it
anything on that case number? And I need to apologize, I just crashed my computer, so I just need to reboot it. Give me a moment. 2017 CF 6333AO.
Your Honor, my apologies. Can I get the case number one more time?
Sure, 2017 CF 6333AA.
This was an Orange County case, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm not seeing that case in our system.
Thank you. It didn't revoke him yet. Because he's coming up under Shiley Dudley Riley. He has an AKA.
It's an alias, Your Honor.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, I'm going to take no action on it in an abundance of caution. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Sorry for the delay. The next case is Alberto Omar Brandy Rivera. All right, sir, you're here for a violation of probation in case number 2021 MM 3082BO. It's alleged that, do you need a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, but can I say something?
Well, let's.
It's real quick, because the question is, I don't know why I'm violated. Because I went to court like how they told me to do. Something like this happened to me like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I see that.
I was having a heart surgery.
So it's still, let me interrupt you for a moment. It's still based on your August, you were arrested back in August for this, for a violation of probation. I'm going to break it down for you. When you were arrested, you posted a bond. The bonds people told you to be in court on September 15th. You missed your bond date. So you were, hold on, you were on probation for petty theft, and it's alleged that you were arrested for possession of cocaine and fentanyl. Defense, do you want me to give you a straight jail offer on this and revoke and terminate?
Your Honor, we conflicted off as a misdemeanor case.
Okay, but remember, it's a VOP now.
Correct, Your Honor. I still believe that a conflict.
Right, so if you don't want an attorney in this case, the offer on your case would be an adjudication. Actually, I am concerned because of the new law offenses, so I'm gonna, let's go ahead and appoint conflict counsel on this case. Or I'm gonna appoint a public defender.
But I don't understand why I was arrested on Wednesday, because they asked me to go to, on September 15, right, to court?
Yes.
And that's what I did. I went to court, and they told me I was getting arrested for some active warrant on some fair to appear for something that I didn't know because I was there. So I don't understand. That's why I'm...
So you used a bondsman on that day? And the bondsman told you to come to court on...
They told me to go the 15th. And I went to see my probation officer September 9, right? And I talked to her, and I asked her to check on the computer what was the day. She said the 9/15, that was last Wednesday. And I went to court. And they arrested me saying that I got an affair to appear on some other court. That's why I got arrested. That's why I'm asking, because I went to court the night of the 15th. That was Wednesday. I was arrested on the court. It wasn't that I missed the date. That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't understand.
Sir, I'm sorry. I'm not going to overrule the judge who found that you did not appear on 9/15.
Well, I was arrested in court, is what I'm saying. They brought me from court.
You were arrested for, so when you showed up for your felonies, you had already missed your misdemeanor offense court dates. So if you have a misdemeanor and
I'm saying the only court date they can give me is the 15th. Even my probation officer, my boss, everybody told me the only date that you have is the 9/15. My probation officer checked on the computer, she's Miss Arbeláez.
I think you're
told me this is the only day you have.
if you're
9/15.
you were supposed to go to different courtrooms. Let me check your felony case to see what's going on.
That was the only mistake, because on my phone, the text message says 6th floor. And when I went to the 6th floor, they told me I was supposed to go to the 4th floor. That was the only mistake there.
Corrections, do you know the felony case number?
Let me see what other cases he has, Your Honor.
Alberto. Okay, sir, you had court dates in two different courtrooms. You went to the felony courtroom, you didn't go to the misdemeanor courtroom. Here's what I'm gonna do. You still had a responsibility to do that. I'm gonna modify the bond and set bond at $2,000. That's the best I can do on that.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
That day I was supposed to go to 2.
Yes, sir.
That's
Yes.
what I didn't understand.
That's what I was trying to explain to you.
Wow.
Sorry. All right. When you have a lot of cases, you have a lot of court appearances. Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, as far as the Osceola case is concerned,
That's what I'm saying. That's why they arrested me.
Counsel, I thought you were standing down. I don't,
as far as the plea is concerned, Your Honor, I think you're ready to plead, but in my opinion, what happened in this case is he got arrested on a Nevada County Osceola warrant, which caused him to miss court in this case.
no, he missed court because he missed court because he was in circuit court on a circuit court case. Thank you. The next person is Craig Hill.
You have a hold from us.
2021 MM 6538AO. Are you Mr. Hill?
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir. You are here for a charge of carrying a concealed weapon.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you need a public defender to help you with your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I do find that there is probable cause for this offense. I'm going to stay the bond at $500 and order no return to the scene of the crime. Does he want a plea offer?
No.
Your Honor, he indicated he wants to post bond.
All right, thank you. The next person is Trofeo Kimani. Case number, your name, please? Sir, you're here in case number 2021 MM 6553AO. You were arrested for resisting officer without violence in open container. You're also already out on bond in case number 2021 CF 4082AO. Do you want a public defender to help you with your new case? Excuse me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. I'm going to modify by find probable cause. Do you want an offer on the misdemeanor case's defense?
If the court was going to be inclined to revoke the bond on another one, I don't think that we would have to plea at this time.
All right, I'll go ahead and stay the bonds as listed. And I'll revoke the bond on 21. If he enters a plea, I take no action, but it's going to be a 5-day jail offer on the new cases.
Your Honor, he indicated he'd like to accept that offer.
Sir, you're here for a charge of resisting officer without violence and open container. Do you understand that by entering a plea, you are giving up your right to a jury trial?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that, sir?
Oh, I said yes, ma'am.
Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that's affecting your ability to understand what's going on right now?
No, ma'am.
Sir, do you understand that if you were on probation at the time you committed this offense, by pleading today, your terms of probation would be violated?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you have a criminal history, Mr. Kimani, of doing anything sexually violent or anything sexually motivated, under the laws of the state, you would be civilly committed by entering a plea to these charges?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the services of your lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to the crime of resisting officer without violence? Guilty, no contest, or not guilty?
No contest, ma'am.
How do you plead to the crime of open container?
No contest.
Do you understand what no contest means?
Yes, ma'am.
And has anybody forced you to say no contest?
No, ma'am.
All right, at this time, I'll find that you've entered a plea freely and voluntarily. I'll accept the plea of no contest. You're adjudicated guilty, sentenced to 5 days with credit for 2 days' time served. And you owe court costs due by February 15th of 2022. All no action, 21 CF 408280.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. The next person I'm addressing is Tyce Kuiper.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry I mispronounced that.
Oh, thank you.
So if you would like to resolve your case today, it would be a withhold time served offer, and you would owe court costs of $273. I would give you until February of next year to make payment on that. I'm going to release you on pretrial release, but that means if you don't want to accept a plea, I'm going to release you on pretrial release, but you're going to have to come back to court. Ms. Keeper, do you want a lawyer to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You didn't fill out an application. Do you work, ma'am?
I'm sorry?
Do you work?
Yes, I do.
And how often are you paid?
Bi-weekly.
Deputies, can you hand me an affidavit? And what's your take-home pay?
Are we saying monthly?
So every time you...
Okay, I apologize. 800.
$800 every 2 weeks, bi-monthly? Bi-week, every 2 weeks?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you support anybody in your family?
I do not.
So it's just you?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me see if you... They don't have one? 800, no depend. You qualify for a public defender, there's a $50 application fee. Counsel, our PTR her or time server with a withhold. But we're seeing a lot of non-return people getting warrants.
Your Honor, she indicated she'd like to accept the court's offer.
All right, I'm going to ask you some questions. Ma'am, are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that's affecting your ability to understand what's going on right now?
No, ma'am.
And do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, you'll be subject to deportation by pleading to these charges?
Yes, ma'am.
If you were on probation when you committed these offenses, by entering a plea today, your terms of probation would be violated. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a criminal history of doing anything sexually violent or anything sexually motivated, under the laws of the state, you would be civilly committed. Do you understand that too?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the services of your lawyer?
I am.
Do you plead guilty, no contest, or not guilty to the charge of trespass?
I plead no contest.
And how do you plead to the charge of disturbing the peace at a public lodge?
I plead no contest.
You understand what no contest means?
Yes, ma'am.
And did anybody force you to say no contest?
No, ma'am.
All right, at this time, I'll accept your plea. I'll withhold adjudication, impose a time-served sentence. You'll be released today. You do owe court cost of $273. That's due by February 15th of 2022. Do you have any questions about that?
No, ma'am, I did. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, ma'am. And I'm also ordering no return to the scene of the crime. And there is a $50 application fee for the public defender's office that's also due by February 15th. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Can you start by telling me what your name is?
This is Ms. Sweester, Your Honor.
21, thank you, 21 MM 6562. Ms. Sweester, I find probable cause for the charge of prostitution If you would like to resolve your case today, I'll withhold adjudication, impose a time-served sentence. So you'd be released today. You'd have to undergo HIV awareness class, STD testing, and no return to the prostitution mapping zone. You would have to have court costs paid by February 15th in the amount of $273. Do you need a lawyer to help you with your case?
No, ma'am.
How do you plead to the crime of prostitution? Guilty, no contest, or not
No
guilty?
contest, Your Honor.
And do you know what no contest means?
Being neither am I guilty nor innocent.
Okay, you just want to resolve your case because you feel it's in your
Yes.
best interest?
Yes, I want to resolve it today.
And Ms. Sweester, have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that's affecting your ability to understand what's going on right now?
No, Your Honor.
And do you understand what the prostitution mapping zone is, the area you can't go back to?
That's perfectly fine with me.
All right, and if you were on probation when you committed this offense the other day, by pleading today, do you understand your probation would be violated?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, you will be subject to deportation?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I find you're alert, intelligent, you understand the nature of the charges. Again, how do you plead to prostitution? Is that no contest?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'll withhold adjudication. You'll be released from jail today. If you haven't done the HIV awareness class and STD testing, it must be done within 10 days. It's just a condition of the court.
And you'll give me the address for that and everything?
When you get released from the jail, they'll give you that paper.
Okay, thank you
No.
very much.
You're welcome. No return to the prostitution mapping zone. If you're living in the mapping zone, though, you do need, that's for a period of 6 months.
Okay.
If you're living there, you just need to have like a business card, just tell them that you're living there. You owe court costs due by February 15th of 2022. Do you have any questions for me, ma'am?
No, Your Honor.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Good luck to you, ma'am. Tiffany Enos? Ma'am, you're here in case number 20 CF 5187AO. You're here on a no bond warrant for possession of methamphetamines. I don't know when Marion County is going to pick you up. Do you want a public defender to communicate with them? One of our public defenders here? Is that a yes or no, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll appoint a public defender. Thank you. James Russell's next.
Like a week, I think.
Mr. Russell? Come on up. Mr. Russell, good morning, good afternoon, rather. You're here for a Brevard County case for grand theft. There is a warrant for your arrest that's been executed. You do have a bond. It's $5,000. If you don't post that bond, you'll be transported to the Brevard County Jail. Do you need a lawyer to help you with your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. Thank you, Mr. Russell.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome, sir. Wayne Wilson is next.
Bard's the only one that reduced it. No.
The next person I'm addressing is Wayne Eugene Wilson. Case CF 216479AO. Mr. Wilson, you're here for a warrant out of Polk County, Florida for the offenses of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. You'll be held at no bond. Aggravated assault with without intent to kill, no bond. Carrying a concealed firearm, your bond in that matter is $1,000. Improper exhibition of a firearm, your bond is $500. Discharging a firearm in public, your bond is $500. So again, no bond plus those monetary amounts. In case you can't afford bond, you'll be transported to the Brevard County Jail. Do you need a public defender to help you with your case? Sir, would you like a public defender?
Yes.
Okay, I'll appoint a public defender. That'll conclude your case this morning. Thank you. Amari Mitchell is next.
No.
Are you Mr. Mitchell?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Mitchell. You're here for a warrant in case number 2016 CF1426AO. You were on community control for burglary of a dwelling and burglary of an occupied structure. Do you need a public defender to help you with your case?
No, ma'am, I have a lawyer, but I just have one question. I was already in custody for violation of community control. Is this because you guys had the case numbers wrong? Or That's what I'm in custody for now.
Okay. Well, she just signed this order yesterday, so I would err on the side of the judicial correctness on this. It was alleged that you committed a new act of no valid driver's license. So in this case, you'll remain set at no bond. And after you resolve this case, they'll send you up to either Seminole County or Pinellas County to address those cases.
I have warrants in Pinellas County.
Seminole County and Pinellas County, you have cases.
But I went to prison I signed to those cases.
Yeah, but when you're in prison, when you get released, sometimes there's conditions on you called probation or community control. And,
Only on community control and probation in Orange County.
all right. So you may not want to say anything else, sir. You said you had an attorney. Go ahead and speak to him or her. But you'll remain at no bond in my Orange County court case. Thank you. Sir, your name, please?
Devontae Connor.
Mr. Connor, you're here for a charge of disorderly conduct. I do find that there's probable cause. I'm going to release, do you live in Orlando?
Kissimmee.
Okay, so how long have you lived in Osceola County?
3 years.
3 years? I'm going to release you on this case on your own recognizance. That means you don't have to give any money. Do you need a lawyer to help you with your case, or do you want to see if they're going to formally charge you?
Lawyer.
All right.
Take a lawyer.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Since I'm releasing you ROR, you didn't have an affidavit. When you're released, your next court date is going to be on your paperwork. You need to come to the downtown courthouse, and we'll talk about whether or not you want a lawyer. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anything else, Madam Trial Clerk? Nothing? Corrections? We all good? Everything? State and defense, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
None from the defense, Your Honor.
All right, court will be adjourned.
Thank you, Judge.
Oh, my head is spinning. My head is spinning right now.